Hello everyone, welcome to our Let's Play series of Deus Ex Human Revolution. This is Colonel RPG as usual, and I'm very happy that you're here to join me today as we start off by reading conspiracy theories. Wake up! All major diseases are covert population control, like malaria, that has killed the most out of all the diseases and has existed for millennia. The human organism has only one flaw. It is too resilient for the ones who would control the world. We are too good at surviving. There are too many of us. In order to secretly cull the population figures, artificially created diseases are unleashed to thin the human herd. All these are the products of laboratories. And if this game was written after 2020, because it's clearly swine flu and SARS, it would also say that. And YouTube would demonetize me because all this is nonsense and bollocks. In fact, I was talking last episode about how the conspiracy theories, or like this specifically, fail to grasp at the real, actual dynamics that governments have. So what is being proposed here is that Ebola. Did I say Ebola? I said malaria, because malaria is the one. Malaria is the one. Did I say malaria? I don't know what I said actually. I hope I said malaria, because malaria is the one that actually has killed. I think it is. There's like one particular disease that has been with humanity for millennia and killed the most people out of all the diseases. And in fact, out of all what's the word? Causes of death, it's the most one. At least I read it somewhere that it was. Either way, the point is to pretend that, you know, HIV or AIDS. It shouldn't be the other way around. AIDS, HIV. Either way, the point is HIV was. You know, there were conspiracy theories. There are conspiracy theories that it's made by the government. It's a good example to talk about precisely what I was talking about last episode. There were conspiracy theories that it was created by the government to maybe kill all the LGBT people, and or to just maybe kill all black people in Africa or something like that, because I think it came from Africa. And SARS and swine flu over there. I don't know that there were conspiracy theories regarding those, but there are conspiracy theories regarding COVID-19, and they're sort of more or less the same sort of dynamics. COVID-19, is it COVID-19? Yes. Coronavirus, that's the one. COVID-19 is the disease. Coronavirus is the virus itself. Either way, the point is, the dynamics are similar in regards, and we can pick HIV as a good example of that, because the dynamics are also similar there. So these conspiracy theories get buried into, oh, it's done on purpose, and it's all that, when the actual impact of HIV has more to do with how targeted, it's what I said last episode, but how targeted the treatment of the disease actually is. And the same happens with COVID-19. And it happens with a lot of things that affect large numbers of people. It's basically, if it affects the higher ups or the people who make the rules, then they care about it and cure it and fix it. If it doesn't affect them, in the case of HIV, it was very much stereotypically, or not stereotypically, it was definitely stereotypically seen as a disease or a virus of the LGBT community. And that's a stereotype more than anything these days. But it did affect the LGBT community a lot more due to a lot of different socio-economical situations, and also even having to do with just human biology, really. What I'm saying is there are many aspects of why the HIV affected the LGBT community more than other people. But one of the results of that, though, is that HIV was seen for a long time as not a problem. Or rather, it's not a result of it affecting the LGBT community, it's rather a result of the people in power wanting the LGBT community to die, basically, and using HIV as a tool for that. But not really necessarily creating it, because they don't need to create it. They just need to, the actual observable thing is that they don't take it seriously. Through the 80s and 90s. I'm talking about real history here. So basically, what I was saying last episode is that the conspiracy theories sort of like they're touching on the subject, except they come at it from all the wrong perspective. They come up with these completely impossible to prove theories, and I'll get to why even those theories are bad, besides being impossible to prove, how it was created by this or that. When the real impact, it doesn't matter who created it. The real impact is not treating it, and it happens to HIV, but happens as well with COVID, to different extents, and obviously it impacts communities of color and indigenous people and black people in the U.S. in particular. And at the time of recording, it's still very much rampaging. It's the beginning of winter, so if you're watching this later on and you know how it happens or what happens after this winter of 2020, 2021, then more context can be given to that. But yeah, it's definitely a disease. COVID-19 anyway, it's definitely a disease that affects communities, oppressed communities a little bit more. Well, I say a little bit more. I actually, according to the numbers, it's a huge amount actually. But still, the point is the treatment of the disease and the way governments treat it, in the sense of like what policies are done to mitigate the disease. That's the real control. That's the absolute control that nobody can deny. Because if you just ask it, like, nobody's going to say, no, the governments don't have control. They might say the governments don't do it on purpose, but that's because they, well, that's more of a judgment of whether they do it on purpose or not, which we can just see from in regards to HIV. We can just hear the people who actually did it on purpose say that they did it on purpose, because they have admitted in many cases, and it definitely was a concerted effort, and just because people are bigots. The point is that there are real world things and mechanisms to do population control or targeted population control, which is what this thing is talking about, that the conspiracy theories that go around this sort of conspiracy theory absolutely miss. And the other thing is, and that's where I was going to get to, SARS and swine flu, as well as HIV, although through different means, and COVID-19, coronavirus, those things are created, they happen, they don't necessarily, they are, well, in the case of SARS, and HIV as well, they're created throughout because of the increased interaction between humans and wildlife. And that increased interaction doesn't have to do with just because people like petting monkeys in the case of HIV, although I'm not actually 100% sure about HIV. But either way, in the case of swine flu, they don't like it's not because they like petting pigs, or whatever. I assume it's pigs, or bats or whatever for coronavirus. It's because they eat them, or other things. But it's because they eat them, and they eat them because of socio-economical conditions that are forced upon the people. Like in the case of coronavirus, there are factories and there are huge industrial complexes that use people. We were talking about China before and the migratory conditions that people are subjected to, although I'm not sure if back in 2012 that was the case as much. Certainly not from a cultural perspective, but enough from an actual biological perspective that it can create and does create this sort of pandemics, like SARS. What happens is basically people are forced into less than ideal conditions, subhuman conditions, where they need to eat, because people need to eat, right? So you go into a factory and you need to eat, and paying for food is kind of a lot. So what do? Well, you hunt and you kill, and if you are good at hunting and killing, you maybe don't even need to work, and you just sell the meat to whoever works at the factory. And those conditions, those conditions exist in the real world. They would necessarily exist in this setting, and they would exist even more in this setting because it's a dystopia, although in some aspects it's less of a dystopia than the real world. But anyway, the point is, this sort of pandemics exist because of the encroaching power of international corporations, and though they happen because nobody cares about those people, the people who end up eating the pigs or working with them or eating the bats, because that's the best thing that they can do to feed their family. Not necessarily just because the bats are the best to eat, but also it's just because they save them money the most there. And then when September or October comes and they go back home for 4 or 5 months with the money that they got from that little those few months working for those factories, then they can feed their family like that. And that happens. That's a real thing in China, and it's a real thing in Africa as well, and South America. So these things are not created on purpose. HIV wasn't done in a laboratory. SARS wasn't done in a laboratory. None of that was created in a laboratory. But it was undeniably created, or propagated rather, not necessarily created, but propagated due to economic circumstances that are a result of the economic system that we live in, and in this world, the economic system that the world of Deus Ex lives in as well. And then you have what I started the episode talking about, the lack of control, and that's a different issue altogether, but it's just two major aspects that conspiracy theorists absolutely are blinded to, and that's one of the reasons why it's so difficult to get people out of conspiracy theory thinking specifically, because they're wrong on so many aspects that when you're wrong about one thing, or wrong about something, like in specific, simple things, like simple innocuous things, maybe the lunar landing skeptics, they're probably the most innocuous conspiracy theory, although if you are really deep into that one, you might also start having all these problems of where you're just wrong on so many fronts. But just somebody who doesn't believe that humans landed on the moon, you're not wrong on many things. You're gonna be wrong on certain things, and people are just gonna, hey, look at this, look at how there's rocks coming from the moon that we have, or look at how if you reflect a laser off of the moon, we have a thing there with the lasers that the astronauts left, or with mirrors rather. It's a retroreflective thing. So positioning, it's got to do with GPS coordinates, and there's so many things that rely on the fact that we went to the moon. And look at these scientific discoveries that were made because of the stuff that we learned from going to the moon. And you don't even need to deconstruct the arguments that conspiracy theorists give to explain why we didn't go to the moon. Just show things that are not mentioned, or that are just outside of the knowledge of people, and it's just like, oh, okay, well, I guess I was wrong. I mean, whatever. It doesn't really change anything. It's usually, that's why it's an innocuous conspiracy theory. But when you think that diseases are population control, or that vaccines are cause autism and all that sort of stuff, you're wrong on so many fronts that it's very difficult to get you out of that thinking, because that wrongness affects your life and changes the way you act towards others and towards what you need to do as a person who lives in the society. So it's just, it's such a complicated thing. Obviously, I'm not a specialist or anything about conspiracy theory thinking and all that. There's people who write books and know about this sort of stuff. But yeah, it's a whole thing. Either way, we're going to continue. There are cures. AIDS was developed by a neoconservative religious extremist conspiracy. That one being related to the LGBT community, I assume. That's the conspiracy theory that it's drawing upon, although that's not. That's just one of the many conspiracy theories regarding AIDS. Ebola is a weaponized kill virus that escaped from a secret Russia facility. I thought Ebola was like an old virus. Maybe I'm wrong on that. Either way, SARS is China's failed attempt to wipe out the city of Hong Kong. Was that an actual thing that people thought? Maybe people think. Bioterrorists in league with corporate interests created swine flu to panic the world. Oh, that's more related to the coronavirus thing. I don't know if at the time of recording it's still a popular conspiracy theory, but it was at the beginning of the pandemic. It was a popular conspiracy theory that the world, or that the people with money wanted people to panic and go into lockdown because of the coronavirus, which is, well, just look at the global economic recession. And if you're watching this past the winter, then yeah, that's not as popular anymore. People with money really hate this sort of stuff. Anyway, these are the like seriously, we're killing our entire planet with climate change and global warming because of moneyed interests. That's literally the reason. The people who own stakes in the oil industry, among others, just are doing their best and have been doing their best knowingly killing the planet for decades and decades and decades. And those people have the most power. The banks that support those people have the most power. And they are the ones that control the world in regards... Well, not obviously as a shadow cabal like in Deus Ex, but in the sense of like what they want to do. Yeah, to think that somebody else would have money that would bring down the oil industry, as coronavirus has not really brought it down, but it's done a huge amount of damage to the oil industry, just because people are not going, driving around and all that sort of stuff as much. Yeah, it's just dumb, as many of these are. Not necessarily just misguided, but dumb conspiracy theories. These are only the opening shots in a war where the battleground is your blood. A worse pandemic is coming. Every virus is a bullet. I really should, I've been mentioning this book that I heard about. I heard an interview by the author regarding a worse pandemic is coming. Yeah, it's a book explaining why our world gets pandemics like SARS and swine flu, and explaining that it was going to come. I think it's from 2018. Let me check. It fortunately wasn't very difficult to find, and I also learned where I watched that interview, and then read a little bit more. I didn't read the book, so yeah. It's the book's name is titled "The Next Pandemic: On the Front Lines Against Humankind's Gravest Dangers," and it talks about the interaction between exploitation and pandemics and that sort of stuff. As far as I know, it's by Ali S. Khan. And there's an interview from July, I believe, in Democracy Now! With them, and where they talk about this sort of stuff. So yeah, that's where I got most of my understanding of this from. So, yeah, fun reading if you like to, think about this sort of stuff, because it's important. It affects our world in real life, not just the video game ones. Stun darts over here. I didn't realize that I had left these behind. And we do need some stun darts, because we use them. Revolver ammo. Yeah, I don't need that. We only have 2 rounds of that? That's weird. Either way, we have a camera. We have bad things. Wait a minute. We also... Don't we have a computer that we didn't hack? Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Okay, hack that thing. Clearance. Wait, clearance didn't do the thing I thought it would. Oh, that was a waste. Okay, pause that. Stop. Hack. Hack. Gonna need to hack this.
Access
I think
granted.
we got everything. Yeah, we're using that a lot more. And we disabled all the cameras. Wow, that was great. I like that a lot. Oh, I say I disabled all the cameras, but there are still people around. Is that a turret? No, it's a robot. It's the robots. That's what's around. Maybe? I don't know. This is where we are supposed to go. So we're gonna go back in a little bit, because I still want to go to the upper roof and all that, because that's a different path and I want to do it. Ooh! Okay. It's a tricky... Just used a bunch of...
Access granted.
Wow. You can hack that? I didn't realize that. I used a bunch of stops. Didn't realize you could hack the things. Oh, this thing's broken. That's how you get past. Maybe. Let's do this. I wonder if the animation tells how long it's gonna be, because it looked like it was like gathering. No, it's not gathering gas. Yeah. Okay. It wasn't ideal. Still need to hack these. And hacking them itself, the hacking gives us loot. You know what I mean? You can't get there.
Access granted.
Huh. It's weird, isn't it? Oh, it disables these things. No, that one is disabled. Right. Okay. So. Oh, that's where the robots come from. Wait, are they in there? They are in there. Did I do a bad thing by coming here? No, I just came in from here. I don't actually remember. Okay, I see it. Us being able to see the robots is a little bit weird. Right? Okay, so we're back up here. Oh, no. What? I am back over here, but this is all manner of wrong. Ah, this is where we're supposed to go. Nope, this is where we're supposed to go. Okay, I'm not going back. Excuse me. You must be knocked down. They are heavy. Ka-chunk on the floor. Shakes the screen. Okay, I think we're gonna be good. Let's see what we can do over here. Linear, straightforward.
Access granted.
Was biding my time there. Pump room. We know the code. There it is. We don't need the code. This is interesting. So I could try hacking that. Because I really only need this one.
Access granted.
That's... I didn't realize... really didn't realize that you could do that. So that might open up some possibilities for future playthroughs, for future puzzles like that. Okay, so... Oh, no, we got something else over here. Nothing. Just some money. Very welcome money, mind you. Do away with that in the middle of my screen. Thank you very much. Okay. No code for this one. It's probably just a looting place. So what do we want to do? We want to get there, and we want to get there. Okay, let's go through here. Easy. That transfer is going to help on these. Okay. Oh, there we go. Another transfer. Good. I didn't stop it, did I?
Granted.
No. What do we have over here, then? Just some ammo. I think we're gonna have a boss fight. Don't you think? The game is giving us a lot of stuff without actually giving us a lot of enemies. Boss fight in a storage room like this. Nah, it's the elevator. Let's go. Okay, definitely not.
Richard, I'm in an elevator leading to the Pangu. Any security features I should know about ahead?
Nothing too taxing, I suspect. The Pangus used mostly for maintenance and storage. Look for a second elevator once you're there. It'll carry you straight into the tower.
S4. That's the name of the elevator. We still need to go up. Judging by the marker on our... not PDA. On our mini-map. Okay, let's see what we get out of this. So we can hack that. It's gonna be a straightforward... No, I need to go over there. It's gonna be tricky. Are we gonna do it? Yes.
Access granted.
That was wildly unnecessary. Got a Pep's energy pack. And another stun thing. And another Pep's energy pack. And chocolate. Definitely welcome. And a pocket secretary over here. Attention all employees, please be advised that there has been an incident in the Pangu storage area. A fallen power cable is down and there remains a danger of electrocution. Please proceed with caution until the area has been secured by maintenance staff. Thank you, Yu Chen, Maintenance Chief, Tai Yong, Medical. Well, what you should have said, instead of this proceeding with caution malarkey, is please use the vents. And take the opportunity to get... There's somebody up there. Take the opportunity to gain some experience points. I almost could get there. But I can't. I think that's on purpose. We probably are going to need to come back down from a higher level. But we're out of time for the day. So let's solve this issue in the next episode. For right now, I'm Colonel RPG, and this has been Deus Ex Human Revolution. I really hope you've enjoyed it, and if you did, go ahead and leave a comment, like the video if you want to see the next episode come out sooner rather than later. But above all, thank you so much for watching, and I hope I'll see you next episode. Bye-bye.